collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your timeless work, career, and vocation read. I'm your reader, Mark Angelo, Lyons, Mal for short, professional edge, professional intuitive, president of Drawing the Circle Productions since 1998, author of Words of Grace, From a Professional Witch, available on Kindle. There's a link in the description box, and I'm a creator on Patreon. Patreon.com/Drawing the Circle. I got humans, heroes, angels, witches, immortals, gods, goddesses over there at the time of this recording. Check it out. Given a lot to my subscribers over there. Why? Because I am the Archangel of Lyons, Mark Angelo Lyons. But you can call me Mal. Hey, if you're new to my channel, what this is, it's called a 3 levels of power reading. There's a link in the description box to a video here on YouTube by Carolyn Myss. That's spelled M-Y-S-S, but she's a PhD, author of Sacred Contracts, Anatomy of the Spirit, Entering the Castle. Her work has been so pivotal for me. This is her archetype deck we're going to start off with. So the 3 levels of power are archetypal lenses through which you can look at many different aspects of life. In this case, we're looking at life purpose, your work, your career, and your vocation. There are chakras involved. We will get there. The theme for this series is Dress for the Job You Want. I am a dancer. Don't be jealous of my boogie. So I am wearing something that I wear to work out with, usually in the winter, but it's overcast and a little chill in the air today. So I figured for Taurus, why not? It's a general read. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And it's just 12 cards, 3 cards from 4 different decks layered. We're going to look at chakras. I'll explain. We'll see what comes out of my mouth as we go. The guides pretty much explain as we go along. Yeah, and do check your other signs, because your sun sign could very well be more interested or focused on work, the first level of power. Your moon could very easily be your career. That's your internal hunger and passion and thirst, your creativity, your creative intuition. And, your Venus or your rising could be very much into your vocation, your spiritual calling. But it's a general read. You do you. I guess that's about it. Both feet on the floor if you can. Focus on your breath if you will. And I will do the same, right? Stay grounded to get you the clarity, guidance, and grace. Because I've been doing these readings for clients for decades now. Since I learned about the 3 levels of power back when I had an iPod, like the first iPods way back when, listening to the 3 levels of power, which is a lecture that you probably... There's a video there, but it's on audio somewhere too. So, let's get up in this gig, shall we? Yeah. Please take a nice deep breath. Still point. That first still point, that shift from explanation to divination is just so wonderful. I could savor it. So using the Caroline Myss archetype deck, I call upon the collective pantheons of the divine for the Taurus collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading. Please, what are the dominant 3 archetypes in the work, career, vocation, the soul lessons being learned, the alchemy, the healing, the shadow work, shadow to light, lead to gold, pain to peace. First in the Taurus's work, what they do in the world to survive, lower 3 chakra dominant, survival intuition, in their career, right? Heart, throat, third eye, crown chakra, dynamic, the internal world, the feminine energy. The first level of power is definitely the masculine, the external. This is the feminine, the internal, their creative intuition, what they yearn for, what they burn for, what they hunger, what they thirst for. And for their vocation, 8th chakra dominant, their calling, the star that calls them forward, right? Their spiritual, mystical power in all of this, in this timeless Taurus work, career, vocation read. So these are in the title. Let's see how brave you are. Okay, all right. So though we lay them out 1, 2, 3, which would really be from root chakra up to the 8th chakra over the head. All 3 of these are about the 8th chakra. Changes the electrodynamics of electromagnetics, really, of all your other chakras as you alchemize from lead to gold, pain to peace, which is what these archetypes have written on them, shadow attributes and light attributes. So what you attract and what you repel and what you experience as a result. But we read them this way in terms of incarnating your vocation down through your career and into your work. So let's have a look. You got the victim archetype. You got the victim archetype in your vocation, the fool in your career, which is not what you think it is. Neither is the victim necessarily. And the femme fatale in your work. Uh-oh, some serious Morticia Adams there. None of this is about bodily gender, though. So all of these are gender neutral. They're soul powers that we incarnate. We contract. They're written into our... Everybody wants to know about their soul contracts with other people. This is your soul contract in terms of fulfilling your life purpose here. And as we do that, as we fulfill our life purpose, this world gets better. Little bit. The more of us who are deliberately doing that, bringing, not to mention our work, career, vocation into alignment, but the chakras involved is a lot. And we're helping heal the world as a result. So bring this together for yourself. So you've got a survival family archetype, a masculine family archetype, and you would think femme fatale would be the feminine family archetype. It's not. It's the wild card archetype, because you never know what to expect from a femme fatale. Okay, so let's look at these. Everyone has the victim/victor archetype. Survival family archetype, everybody has the child, the victim-victor, the saboteur, the empowerer, and the prostitute. It's very little to do with sex work. Read Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Myss. It's the best I got for you. So we're going to look at the shadow. In terms of your vocation, there's a survival lesson learning here, right? That you're learning here. So the shadow attribute, playing victim for positive feedback in the form of pity. I mean, we all do it. We learn how to do that as a kid. That's what I mean. We have these lifelong. Everybody has these. You can have an archetype, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. If it's a survival family archetype, it's automatically what's called a Chronos archetype all time, your whole life. What you're shooting for here is the light attribute prevents you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others. Now look, in a spiritual, mystical calling kind of thing, I've come across predators, man, people who said that they were help me and guide me and just bend over. The knife goes in a lot easier when they stab you in the back. Thanks, Lil, wherever you are. Lillian Carter, my roommate from college and still dear friend. So, you know, this is about boundaries, right? Each of the survival family archetypes is a guardian. The child is the guardian of innocence and safety. The victim-victor is the guardian of boundaries and self-esteem. Interesting. Or maybe you're feeling victimized by the divine. Who wouldn't? Right? But the universe always has a plan, no matter how anything seems to be. And we don't see it that way. And that doesn't mean we have to like it. That doesn't mean we get what we want, but we always get what we need. Yeah, tricky shit, I know. So let's look at the fool. Now, instead of thinking of it as like the idiot, I want you to think like sort of like the tarot card of the Fool, but it's different. Masculine family archetype. So this is about energy coming from you out into the world in terms of your career. The shadow attribute, using humor to wound rather than liberate. Grew up with that. Denial of your emotional truth. I'm a Pisces moon. I did try and get away with that. It didn't work for very long. The light attribute, what you're shooting for here in your career, is fearlessly revealing emotions, helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy, and I do that every day. And like I said, you could have this a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Mine, it comes in seasons. There's a little bit of a difference between the Fool and the comic. It's hairline differences, perhaps. But the big difference is, where I would certainly put the comic in the creative family of archetype, because, you know, comedy is an art form, regardless of what we've seen on planet Earth. Just watched a 2-part documentary on George Carlin on HBO Max. Brought me to tears. I grew up on Toledo Window Box. We used to listen to it when I was a little kid on audio cassette. I didn't know what it was all about, but it made me laugh. No, the fool is the one who can speak truth to the king and queen without getting his head cut off, because he does it hitting himself with a bladder. I don't know whose bladder. Probably not his own, unless he's also a yogi. Let's look at your work here, the Femme Fatale. Oh, welcome to my parlor, said the spider to the fly. The Femme Fatale do like flies, going up, going down. The shadow attribute, inappropriate use of sensuality, attachment to money and power. Are you using your wild card Femme Fatale energy to make money? Nothing wrong with it, not if you bump it up into the light attribute. Highlights the erotic energy of the feminine. Feminine energy is magnetic. Masculine energy is electric, right? So the hand you write with, I'm right-handed, masculine, electric, how energy goes out. The other hand is the receptive. And if you're ambidextrous, good for you. You get to futz with that. How lovely. I still can't fucking juggle, though. I'm not ambidextrous. The light attribute, the second part of this, opens your heart when your dependency is rejected. And maybe that dependency isn't romantic sexual. Maybe that dependency is upon a job. Maybe that dependency is on whatever. 401k that went south for the winter and never came back. So much crazy going on planet Earth right now with the economic systems and financial economic inequality, and that's all coming into balance, but it's all getting shook up. It's all getting transformed. Not so much like a tower, like everybody wanted, right? A tower card, having it all change instantly. It's being done more like the death card. Just saying. We're going to ashes and we will rise from it. Great fun. So that's the most we're going to talk about any of these cards individually, because now it's tarot time. Daughters of the Moon Tarot will cover the chakras underneath. So think this is the satellite. However, the chakric satellite, good name for a band, right? Beaming down the lesson, the message, the code, if you will. Then we'll look at crown, third eye, throat, and heart. Spiritual power, mental power, willpower, emotional power, with the Daughters of the Moon, the feminine energy, the inside. And then we'll use the mythic tarot for the lower three chakras, the masculine from the outside looking in. I'll explain it when we get there. Please take a nice deep breath. Still point. I hear Kitty scratching over by the sofa. As I call upon my beloved goddesses of earth, the sign of Taurus, powers of the north, please. 3 cards, one at a time. We'll call them out as we go. For the Taurus collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Watching this video, receiving this reading in their work, career, vocation. Let's look at the Femme Fatale. We'll lay them down this way. Femme Fatale in their work. What's going on behind the scenes there, behind their eyes? Heart, third eye crown that they need to be aware of with that Femme Fatale. Lovely. The Virgo card, you're going to be okay. Because Virgos, aside from Capricorns, well, we're earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. This is the Virgo card, the Maiden of Pentacles. That would be the Knight of Pentacles when it's heart, third eye crown. It's not somebody outside of you. This is about Virgo dynamic. If you have any planets in Virgo, check your chart, right? Even if it's an outer planet, just go check your chart. I would recommend it to see what that's about. But I am a Virgo. So this is about health and occupation and balancing that, because your health affects what you're occupied with, and certainly what you're occupied with affects your health. It's my guides explained it to me, and that's from Carolyn Myss. That's from Sacred Contracts, when she goes through the 12 houses of astrology. It's an amazing book. Totally rewrote astrology for me over time. As my guide said to me, yeah, crackheads are occupied with crack. It doesn't necessarily, I don't know, give them the nutrients they need for the day. So a femme fatale archetype, but there is a thing about the virgin, the Virgo, that we are forever untouched. Our virginity grows back by daylight. I mean, it's an odd perk, but it's nice to know. During the pandemic, that was not much of an issue, but now it is. He said, readjusting. So yeah, your legs are a little crossed on the inside, and when it's heart, third eye crown, element of earth, as pentacles are, we're looking at wisdom. So this isn't your first time at this rodeo. However, you're keeping an eye on the details, and you've got a solid enough foundation, mutable earth, to really keep an eye on what's going on inside of you in a healthy way. Okay, my goddesses, in their career, they're the Fool archetype in the 8th. This is personal level of power. This is Heart, Third Eye Crown, dominant. Please, what's going on for them in their career with the Fool? Excellent. Ace of Blades, which would be, One of Blades, which is the Ace of Swords. The Pythia, the Oracle of Delphi, right? That new idea, that new thought dropping down. It's a download, but remember, downloads lead to upgrades, and sometimes you got to get rid of some stuff to upgrade, right? You got to get rid of the pre-existing files that no longer work, and easier said than done. So, the Pythia sitting on her tripod there, huffing ethylene gas out of the crack of the wall of the Temple of Delphi in Greece. Speaking in tongues, someone else writes it down, a third one translates it. I mean, nice work if you can get it, nice career if you can have it, except apparently if they did it during dark moon, they would asphyxiate on the ethylene gas. It's a job hazard. Look, there's a new thing coming in. Now the thing is about the Fool. Very third eye dominant. So if this is something that can help people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy, that heals, right? Putting that out into the world. I mean, I could have had a career as a stand-up comic. If you knew my family, you would get it. But I know stand-up comics, and no, I am really glad I took the mystical spiritual path as the path less traveled. But, if you do not have your spiritual, psychological thing together, stand-up comedy on the road is a really fucking rough gig, and no thanks, but no thanks. Not for me. That quantum version of me is probably still gigging in another dimension of another timeline or other. Quantum womtum, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly. Let's get, I'm ready to see what this looks like on the outside for you, apparently. Let's look at this victim victor, because you might be more in the light than the shadow, but it is a little, the survival thing, spiritual survival. Let's do this one a little bit formal. Please take a nice deep breath. Still point. My goddesses of earth, sign of Taurus, powers of the earth. This one feels like this could be where the leverage is, actually. Please, one card in clarity for the Taurus collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading. Leave the card in my hand in their vocation. They got the victim victor there. That's a big deal. What do they need to be aware of inside of themselves? Yeah. This is where your leverage is, and don't freak, because it is the Four of Swords. Yes, I know, blindfolded with some swords, sitting on a really uncomfy bench by the water is usually the two, except there were two swords crossed underneath her that she ain't aware of. The key word is deception. The key word is deception. Are you being deceived? Are you being deceived in terms of your vocation, your spiritual calling? It doesn't mean that your vocational calling is deception, but that there may be something going on with you, aligning with that, where your third eye is a little cloudy, probably with more than a chance of meatballs. Lord, like I said, I have been in the metaphysical spiritual industry for the majority of my life at this point. More than half, right? And there are liars, right? Lies, illusions, deceptions, delusions, liars, gamblers, and thieves, as well as some of the most brilliant teachers, healers, readers, good people who are doing their best, right? Seekers, a whole bunch of archetypes along the way. But maybe there is something just like the Four of Swords, like you would see in traditional tarot, to rest, to take the mental rest, to really go in and see if you are being victimized and your role you play in it. Because at the end of the day, this is what boundaries are for. It's a lesson. It's a lesson. In order to be who we're born to become in this life, right? Our contract, to manifest, fulfill our contracts, life couldn't be any other way. It's not much of a hero's journey without villains along the way. Would you agree? I think I'm slowly turning into Natasha Lyons, but only as a Nadia Volvikov on Russian Doll, because I don't know what she's like in real life. Is everybody empathing Natasha Lyons? Apparently, Jinx Monsoon is and did a pretty decent job. But that Judy Garland, that was a lot. I laughed so hard I cried. All right, so look, it does feel like, because usually one of the levels of power, that's why I say check your other signs, has leverage. Yes, there's a new thought coming in here with this Fool that might very well do that, but it looks like this is what you need to address. It feels like in work you're doing what you got to do. Just, keep your ethics in check. We'll look at that with the solar plexus card here in particular. But that new idea coming in. Let's see what's going down. Lower 3 chakras, as I said, masculine energy can also be you from the outside looking in at yourself, you from the inside looking out at a person, place, or thing. Lower 3 chakras have to do with relationships, root chakra, tribes, groups, circles of friends. Been saying this a lot for some reason to explain it. When in the 80s, I'm 53. Yeah, I know, I don't look at things. I was a member of the Bad Reputation Nation. I don't know if it still exists, and that's a Joan Jett and the Blackhearts thing, right? That's a tribe. Second chakra, one-on-one relationship, like an umbilical cord to another person or thing. It's also money, sex, and power. You do have the Femme Fatale. Felt like I needed to mention it. And the solar plexus is your relationship to yourself, your honor code. Your self-esteem, very connected to the victim-victor archetype. Let's see what hits the table. Please take a nice deep breath. Still point. As I call to my gods of earth, the sign of Taurus, powers of the north, please, one card each, 3 cards in total, in clarity for the Taurus collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading in their work, career, vocation. Outside looking in, inside looking out, masculine dynamic, Femme Fatale in the 8th, with Virgo on the inner. The seems solid, but it feels mutable too, like they're hustling a bit, depending on the meaning of that word. What's going on? Lower 3 chakras here for the Taurus in their work. And we've got the 9 of Swords, the overthinking card, the worst case scenario going on in your mind card. So I could see maybe there is some instability going on in your work in terms of the outside world. Now, whether this is looking at you with the Virgo on the inside, I don't get that. Sure, we can overthink things. Oh, absolutely. In minutia, microscopic, quantum quark level type of analysis. And maybe that's a part of this, but I also get for a lot of you that there's a lot going on in your work sphere in terms of perhaps contradicting tumultuous thoughts. Remember the 9s, although a number of completion, it's not necessarily fulfillment. Fulfillment comes at the 10. Yeah, and I'm not even just getting like that's about gossip and stuff, but there's just a lot of thought there. It does feel circular. It doesn't feel like a trap. It feels overwhelming, right? So I feel like you're navigating there, but you have to really, with that I am a Virgo, honey. I took Virgo vows in this life to really be authentic to your true self. That doesn't mean you have to say everything every time, all the time, right? That doesn't mean you have to tell everybody what's going on. But if you are dealing with a verbal shitstorm at work, in whatever your work field is, remember that could be an industry as well, then no, watch your attachment to money and power. Are you doing stuff that feels inappropriate to you in your energy field? Are you thinking about that a lot? This isn't the prostitute archetype. That's a whole other archetype. That's survival family. This is wild card. But can you activate, highlight that erotic energy of the feminine, which is incredibly magnetic and powerful and very healthy as you alchemize it along, but you got to feel it to heal it. I don't know how else you do that. My gods, in their career, they've got the Fool with the Ace of Blades, so that could mean Oh, so very much for the creative intuition, very third eye. What's going on lower 3 chakras for the Taurus collective in their career? Yeah, 5 of Pentacles. I'm getting the vibe of this read. So yeah, there might be some financial changes going on that might leave you feeling a little desperate. I hate saying left out in the cold. That's the Rider-Waite Tarot for you. But 5s are numbers of change. This is necessary if this is going on, right? For you to deal with the emotions and what? Fearlessly reveal your emotions and helping other people laugh at what? Absurdity and hypocrisy. Well, certainly there's plenty of 5 of Pentacles going on planet Earth right now. Is that part of your career? Is that what you are sort of speaking this truth, channeling this new idea through as a result of the hardships? And you know what? We'll see if the mantra card comes up, but there's one called Honoring Adversity. A path of new direction is revealed once the burning is complete. It's about the element of fire, right? It's like in a forest fire or whatever. So though there's no element of fire there, I think you get what I'm saying symbolically. So yeah, is there an inspiration here? A new idea coming in here? And maybe it's me even making you laugh at the hypocrisy. Laugh. My guide said to me when I was a teenager, I've been doing this a while, they said to me, if you have the choice to laugh, laugh, because there will be times where there's nothing to do but cry. And I have done my best with that. All right. Lower 3 chakras. My gods. And their vocation. This does definitely feel like if they focus on this, that might set the rest of this in play, because set it right, bring it into alignment. You have victim in the 8th chakra, shooting for victory there. 4 of blades on the inner, which can also be a card of deep contemplation. In other words, where am I deceiving myself? Where have I been deceived? I need to blind myself to the outside world and go within for a little bit and rest and heal. Well, what's that look like on the outside, lower 3 chakras? Well, you're making it look good, or you're dealing with the Queen of Wands, the Leo card, fixed fire. Okay, so we are looking here, if this is you from the outside looking in your vocation, you might have some role of leadership, creativity, be radiating good fortune, at least, and it's not an at least, it's actually at most, spiritually speaking, in your vocation. People may very well turn to you for stuff, right? You know, if this were a reader or someone in the spiritual, metaphysical industry, I would say that it is so easy to prostitute yourself right now for viewers. It's something that I had to go through. It burned me out horribly. My guides were like, we love you, but you don't have to do that. You got the goods, right? You don't need to do bargains and work until your third eye burns. No. But this does feel like somebody with that delusion card, that 4 of Swords on the inner, victim, victor. Keep in mind, everybody has been in therapy because of somebody. That means somebody's been in therapy because of you. That's Carolyn Myss, and you know what? I'm not arguing with her on that. She's probably right? Eventually. So, interesting read here. Very, very interesting read. The conclusions you draw here, make sure you really sit with them, that you filter them in terms of work, right? That internal wisdom with the Virgo as this new thought. And the One of Blades, the Ace of Swords, can very much cut through that sort of stuff. But if you don't acknowledge, right, the gods cannot heal what we will not acknowledge. Acknowledge it. Maybe I'm not seeing this right. Because we also know with that Leo energy, whether anybody has planets in Leo is a moot point when it comes to this kind of read. It can be pride. Leos are prideful. You put a bunch of lions together, you got a pride parade. Yeah, it is June, people, at the time of this recording. All right, so it does feel like this is the place where you could shine, or you are shining, but maybe there's some leadership issues in there too as well in terms of your vocation. And this could also be somebody very charismatic in your life, horizontally, right, that is deceiving you. Sometimes people deceive, they don't know they're deceiving. That's what they believe. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Does it? Does it really? No, the planet turns on an axis, people. Does it move? Well, it does, but very slowly. The sun does move incredibly slowly. Over equator, around equator, central sun. Let's get the last 3 cards down. The Macon Healing Mantra deck. Not doing the bookie book for these reads. They're long enough. I used the chakra reading cards in the last series I did for the timeless Work-Career-Vocation reads. I'm like, these are long enough. Let's stick with 12. Why go with 13? Why press your luck? No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Breathe. Still point. Okay, here we go. As I call upon the Ascended Masters of Life Purpose, through the archetypal lenses of work, career, and vocation, please, 3 perfect healing mantras for the Taurus Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading. My blessed fellow Earth signs, help them out, help them heal, help them bring not just these 3 levels of power, their work, career, and vocation, a little bit more into alignment, or a lot of bit more into alignment, but those chakras as well, so they can be more fulfilled and get those Taurus second house values really grounded and solid beneath their feet. They've got the Femme Fatale in their work in the 8th chakra with a Virgin on the inside, which is interesting, and 9 of Swords on the outer, and perhaps there could be some mental confusion and some overthinking about that. What's the perfect healing mantra to help them with that? Leave it in my hands. Activating the third eye. I am willing to see beyond my beliefs, ideas, and conclusions. There you have it. That 9 of Swords is moving you towards the 10, where you have resolution so that the ace can come in. Be willing. I am willing to see, throat chakra, third eye, to see beyond my beliefs, ideas, and conclusions. Bic, like the lighter in the pen, that's how I remember that. And that would make sense with the 9 of Swords on the outer and the Virgo on the inner. For their career, please, the Fool archetype in the 8th, the Sybil, hold your water, Sybil, you knew I was going to say it. Ace of Blades, 1 of Blades, Ace of Swords on the inner, bringing through that new truth, hitting them damn in the third eye, which is why they got to activate it. And with that 5 of Pentacles on the outer, I get that there is some kind of financial hardship here. Maybe doors are being shut in their face or something like that, or there's just some kind of physical financial change there that's kind of forcing them in to do this, but everything changes, but it can only change us for the better, though we don't have to like the process. What's their perfect healing mantra? Overcoming fear. Totally. I will transcend every loss. There you go. You will transcend every loss. You've had other bodies in other lifetimes. You got over it. Always put it in a larger timeline context, right? Location, loquacious. Sister Mary loquacious. The chattering nuns. The chattering nuns. This makes sense, and that's the thing. This mantra with the Ace of Blades on the inner, focus on it. Focus on this mantra. I will transcend every loss. Yes, you will. You eventually do. And it's part of the cycle. There's no gain without loss, right? As much as we love to eat without an excretory system, that would not be good. It would be full of shit. My Ascended Masters, please, I'm allowed to curse. They know me. They've held me while I've turned to dust and rose like the phoenix. That's ashes, not dust, huh? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. My Ascended Masters for their vocation, and it does feel like, it's like this one feels totally clicked, this one makes sense, but this feels like this is where the mystery is, and this is where their leverage is. Please, what is the perfect healing mantra for the Taurus? In their vocation, victim, victor in the 8th. 4 of Blades, deception, but also that meditation, that introspection, that time to really contemplate, go inside, and, The Work by Byron Katie. Just Google it, The Work by Byron, Byronkatie. Find her on Facebook, heart to her. The Work, the 4 questions and the turnaround. Just haven't thought of that in a while, just popped into my head. with the Queen of Wands on the outer, whether that's them or somebody else. I get the charisma, I get the creativity, I get even a sense of leadership there. But you know, sometimes being a soloist, it does put you in the targets of other people's bullshit, and thinking maybe that they did something wrong when they were being authentic as natural. It's just not true. Please, what's their perfect healing mantra? Explain this. Make it specific. This is their leverage for this timeless work, career, vocation read for the Taurus Collective. Creating cooperation. More gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. I am going to go out on a bit of a Shirley MacLaine limb here and say that this does involve some kind of spiritual deal here, or at least in terms of your vocation, you're dealing with other people. I mean, most people do, right? Organizations, nonprofits, stuff like that. And I was board member of a nonprofit, the Silver Broom Ministries. I was the secretary. Never again. There was no profit in nonprofits. And it was rough. It was a lot. And it was very complex, and the political aspects of it were nuts. Because people project. They just do. What is repressed must be projected. It's psychological law. So creating cooperation, more gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. Is somebody wanting more of a role? Or are they wanting your role? Or you wanting theirs? Where there needs to be cooperation instead of competition. And really, in prides of Lyons, there's more cooperation than competition. Essentially, the females do all the work. Yeah. Ain't it the way it has been on this planet for way too fucking long anyway. So what you're doing here is in your work, you're activating the third eye. In your career, you're overcoming fear. And in your vocation, you're creating cooperation to balance this all out. Or if you like, in your vocation, more gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. In your career, you will transcend every loss. And in your work, be willing to see beyond your beliefs, ideas, and conclusions. I'm going to put this together in a blessing like I always do. A blessing and a summation just flies out of my mouth. And then we'll chat a little bit if you want to stick around for it at the end, because that's how I release the reading, apparently. I let the goofy fly because so few people watch it. Hardware. Please take a nice deep breath. Still point. I call upon the pantheons of the divine for the Taurus Collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading in their timeless work vocation reads, that in their career they prevent themselves from letting themselves be victimized or victimizing others, while perhaps they go deep. Where they go in, they go rest, and they see what deceptions have they been deceived. As a result, did they deceive others because they were deceived? All sorts of ways that can play itself out. Because with this Leo card, the Queen of Wands, fixed fire on the outside. This does involve their creativity, and somehow this does involve their choices, their willpower, or they're dealing with someone in a position of authority, glamour, charisma, uniqueness. We don't know about the nerve and the talent, but that they need to create cooperation there so more gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. And may they be blessed that in their career, that they can fearlessly reveal emotion, helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy, probably with just thoughts dropping in. Little seed, little insights, little one of blades, ace of swords, cutting through the bullshit and seeing the funny. Location, because there's obviously some shakeup here with the Five of Pentacles. On the outer, one would think loss, because they will transcend every loss and overcome that fear. And you can't have a thought of fear without lack, or a thought of lack without fear, so that they can really do the right thing in their work with the Femme Fatale, highlighting the erotic energy of the feminine and opening their heart when their dependency is rejected, because the sacred truth of the heart chakra is love is divine power, to open that up, and certainly to do that with the mutable earth sign of Virgo to be occupied, and for it to be healing and healthy to them, and to take their time doing it. It is the slowest moving night in the tarot. While there may very well be a shitstorm, there might very well be a lot of circular thinking, a lot of overthinking, usually attributed with the 9 of Swords in this situation. But even if that is so, it feels like it's just mostly talk, and a lot of it bullshit, because help them activate their third eye, and may they be willing to see beyond their beliefs, ideas, and conclusions. Flick their bick, so that they may fulfill their contract in this time period that we're looking at for them. That they can bring their work, career, and vocation, their vocation, career, and work into one flow of energy into this world, blessing them, blessing everyone around them, and helping this world evolve for as they fulfill their role in the divine plan, because the universe always has a plan, no matter how anything seems to appear, that they be their best and help all of us heal for the well-being of all, and with harm to none, as we will it. So let it be done. So let it be. And so it is. It's a very solid read. Tricky, but I gotta say, this is where the work is. Start there. Work down. Just saying. Did you like it? It's a tricky read. Like it. If it helped you, like it. Help other Taurians find the read, why don't you? And if you want more of me here on YouTube, you know what to do. Subscribe. It's what people do. That's what they tell me. These millennials, these generations, tell people to subscribe. I'm like, okay, I'll try. And if you want to go deeper, because I'm having fun here on YouTube, doing exclusive content, no one else will see it, and really the best career move I ever made on Patreon. Come to Patreon. Come Patreon on Patreon. Just go click the link and see what I'm offering on the different subscription levels there. I think you'll dig at least one of them, if not 2 or 3. Otherwise, if you want a private reading, like I said, I've been doing these readings for decades for clients, and we go in. I'll just draw every deck I have in the house to help somebody out, particularly another earth sign. So there's a video in the description box. Booking a reading with Mel explains it all for you, just like Clarissa. Otherwise, wishing you all the very best. And the very, very blessed of this in your work, career, vocation. Reach out if you need help, and certainly if you feel it, comment. Otherwise, have at it. Hail, farewell, and blessed be.